let's get started with those scrunchies. For the scrunchies, we're going to use some bandanas. Get yourself clips or pins, whichever you have, ruler for measurement, 1/4 inch wide elastic, your fabric scissors, marking tool, and corresponding thread or thread close enough. You can also make your scrunchies with needle and thread. Fold your bandana in half, right side facing right side. What we want to do next is find our midpoint so we can draw a midpoint line so we can have 4 equal pieces from this bandana to make 4 small scrunchies. So find your midpoint, draw your midpoint line and cut along it. I'm just cutting along this folded corner so that I can get my 4 pieces for my 4 small scrunchies. Next, you want to cut 8-inch pieces of elastic for your small scrunchies. Now, because I have 4 pieces and I'm making 4 scrunchies, I'm cutting 4 pieces of 8-inch long elastic. For method 1, you're going to fold your fabric piece in half, right side facing right side, lengthways. You go ahead, use your clips or pins and secure that fold in place to take it to the sewing machine and run your stitch along that opened raw edge. Now, if you're not using bandanas, what you would need to do before you take it to the machine, fold in one of your raw edge sides about 1/4 inch and go ahead and pin or clip that in place. Once you have stitched your piece together, it is time to turn it right side out. Now, because it's a nice wide opening, you don't need to use a loop turner or the loop turner hack that I showed you guys. You can simply take your time and just pull that right side out. Now, here's a little tip for those that may have hand stitched this. Take your time pulling that out. You do not want to snap on your stitch while pulling this right side out. Once you've pulled that right side out, you want to take a safety pin and one of the pieces of your 8-inch long elastic pieces, attach your pin to that, and you're going to filter that elastic through your turned piece. Now remember to hold the other end. Do not do like me, I forgot and it pulled right through. So just take your time, pull. Once you have your elastic pieces out, what you're going to do is make a nice secure knot. Because this is 1/4 inch wide, it's a bit clumsy to run a stitch, so you want to tie that knot. That's why we made this elastic 8 inches wide. Now, to finish off your scrunchie, you're just going to tuck in your raw edge into your folded edge. Now, for those using bandanas like me, we didn't have to fold any of our edges as the edges were already stitched. But for those that did not use a bandana, you're going to stick your raw edge into the folded edge that I spoke about earlier on. Now, you're going to take this to your machine and run a stitch over that opening area. And there's that finished scrunchie using method 1. Nice and easy, right? Let's move on to method 2. So for method 2, what you want to do is fold your fabric widthways, right side facing right side, and you're going to run a stitch. Once you've done that, there's your nice little crease. You're going to open it out like this. Make sure that your stitched seam is not centered. Just pull it off a bit. Turn it to the other side that has no seam line. And you're going to fold one edge midway and fold the other edge to meet that point. And then fold that down and fold over those crease pieces. You're basically making the burrito right there. Now, at the sewing machine, what you want to do is go down a bit from the top of that, okay? And you're going to start your stitch, back stitch, and just keep going down. Make sure your edges are lined up nicely, and when you are going, you're going to stop a bit. You're not going to go all the way down, and then you're going to hold those folded pieces you have in between and pull that out. Now the reason for pulling out is because you want to pull that all the way out to get the stitch going along the full length of your burrito, and you're going to keep pulling until you reach that first stitch point where you started. So just keep holding that stuffed piece in the middle of in the center of your pieces, and keep in mind you're not stitching all the way down. You're going to stop a bit of the way and keep stitching. Pull out and keep stitching until as you can see, I have reached my stitch point where I started, and I'm not going to go all the way up to that stitch point. I'm going to leave a spacing to be able to turn this right side out. So as you can see, here's my opening, and it's like a little finger trap, isn't it? And there's the opening to turn it right side out. There's my start stitch and my end stitch and my spacing. Now we're going to take your elastic, put your pin at the end, and you're going to filter your elastic through your openings. Once you've done that, do the same thing you did in method 1, and you're going to make a knot. Once you've done this, look for that small opening we left, and you're going to pull your scrunchie right side out through that opening. Just take your time and pull that scrunchie right side out. Again, if you did a hand stitch, take your time pulling it out so that you do not damage your stitching. I'm getting this trouble because my spacing was small. There you go. And there's your scrunchie. All you have to do now is stitch over that opening to give you a nice flushed finished scrunchie. Go as close to the edge as possible when you're running your stitch, because you want a nice flawless finish, and that's the importance of also using thread that is close to your fabric. And that's it, guys. Method 2 finished, and you have a nice completed scrunchie. All right, you can hardly see my stitching. So guys, that's it, and those are 2 methods you can use to create yourself some awesome scrunchies. And don't forget, be creative, decorate if you have to, use different patterns, and until next time, deuces.